Press a foam roller into your sore quad right now. The pain drops in 30 seconds, but the damage to your muscle stays exactly the same. So, what is foam rolling actually doing? Walk into any commercial gym after 6 p.m. and someone is on a foam roller. Maybe a third of the floor is. They're not doing it because they love rolling around on the ground. They're doing it because they believe it pulls them out of the soreness valley faster. The pitch they've been sold is reasonable. Foam rolling breaks up scar tissue, flushes out lactic acid, speeds up muscle repair, and reduces inflammation. These claims are everywhere. Trainers say them, influencers say them, the packaging on the foam roller says them. There is one small problem: none of them are true. When you train hard, you create microscopic tears in muscle fibers. Your body sends inflammatory cells to the damage. 24 to 72 hours later, those cells trigger soreness, the deep full-body ache lifters called DOMs. Researchers can measure this damage directly. They draw blood and look for a protein called creatine kinase, or CK. The more CK floating in your bloodstream, the more muscle tissue has been broken open. It's a clean, objective readout of how wrecked you actually are. Here's the result that quietly changed the foam rolling conversation around 2015. Researchers put trained lifters through brutal sessions, then had half of them foam roll afterwards. They measured CK at 24, 48, and 72 hours. The CK levels were identical. The muscle damage was unchanged, but the foam rollers reported significantly less pain. Same damage, less pain. That's not a recovery effect. That's something else entirely. And it's happening in a part of your nervous system that most lifters don't even know exists. Before we get to what's actually happening, it helps to bury the 3 myths. Lactic acid does not sit in your muscles after training. It's cleared within roughly an hour. By the time you're foam rolling the next morning, there's nothing left to flush. Scar tissue is built over months and years, not days. A foam roller pressing through your skin generates nowhere near the force required to remodel collagen. You can't roll out adhesions you don't have. And blood flow, while it does increase locally during rolling, returns to baseline within minutes. Trained lifters already have excellent vascular density in worked muscles. The marginal increase from rolling is real but biologically tiny, far too small to accelerate any meaningful repair process. So the mechanism has to live somewhere else, and it does.
Buried inside your mouth.
Alongside the fibers themselves sits a different kind of cell, a sensor called a mechanoreceptor. Its job isn't to contract or repair. Its job is to send a signal up to the brain saying, something is pressing on this tissue. When you foam roll, mechanoreceptors fire in waves. Those signals travel up the spinal cord and reach a region in the brain that decides how much pain you should be experiencing. That region is gateable. When enough harmless pressure information arrives at once, your brain partially closes the gate. It interprets the area as actively under control, not under threat, and dials down the volume of the pain signal coming from the damage underneath. The damage is still there, the CK is still elevated, the fibers are still healing on their own schedule, but your conscious experience of soreness drops, sometimes dramatically, sometimes for hours. Studies on this neural gating mechanism have grown denser since 2018. Foam rolling reliably increases pressure pain threshold. The amount of force required before something is reported as painful. It also increases range of motion almost immediately, not because the muscle has lengthened, but because the brain has lowered its protective stiffness response in that joint. This is the same family of mechanism that makes a sports massage feel restorative, that makes weighted blankets calming, that makes you instinctively rub a bruise after you hit it. Pressure modulates pain. Pain modulation feels like recovery. It just isn't recovery in the tissue repair sense. Which is why lifters who only foam roll and skip the things that actually drive recovery, like sleep, protein timing, and training load management, still feel fine while making no real progress. The pain went away, but the repair never sped up. If you've ever wondered why foam rolling feels so dramatically helpful, and yet your hardest training weeks still leave you wrecked the next day, this is the reason. You weren't imagining the relief. You were just receiving the wrong reading. Your nervous system was telling you the tissue was fine because your brain had quietly turned the volume down. This isn't a failure of foam rolling. It's a feature of how pain works. The body uses pressure as evidence that an area is being managed and dials down vigilance accordingly. It's one of the most elegant pain control systems in physiology, and almost nobody who uses it understands what it actually is. So when you foam roll after a hard session and the soreness eases, that relief is real. Your experience of pain has dropped. Your range of motion has opened. You feel looser, calmer, more functional. Use it for that. But don't use it to replace the boring, slow things that actually drive recovery, such as sleep, food, deload weeks, and structured progression. Foam rolling is a brilliant analgesic. It's a terrible repair tool. Knowing the difference is what separates people who keep training from people who keep getting hurt. What's the recovery myth you believed longest before finding out it wasn't true? Drop it below.